Hello everyone, Realist Prepper back here. I just wanted to go over something that I forgot to mention in my prior video regarding my EDC. This is mainly going to be a point of philosophy in regards to proper carry, respect, and mannerisms when it comes to the carrying of a weapon or even a tool such as one of the many things that I may or may not carry on a day-to-day basis being handcuffs. You have to realize that when you carry something such as handcuffs or any sort of pocket knife, be it something this size or something as small as this little assisted opening ridge runner, up to either the bayonet that I showed you in my last video or a full-size sword, that when you are carrying, one, you're going to be looked at differently, and two, there are two ways that people can see you. You can either be demonized or you can be respected, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. What I mean is that if you're acting immature, if you're childish, if you're disrespectful, you're doing things that you generally shouldn't be doing when you're carrying a weapon of any sort, you're going to be demonized by the general populace. You're going to incite fear in people. And when you do incite fear in general populace and the citizens of whatever community you may live in, that's when you get situations where you have contact with law enforcement or anything like that. Now, however, if you're carrying properly and you are respectful of the people around you, you're understanding, you're courteous, you're generally going to run into less problems. One of the things that I see a lot, that is a major issue with both firearms and a lot of fixed blade knives is your placement of either your hand or your arm. You have to realize that people are looking at you. You get noticed if you're carrying a weapon. So if you're carrying a weapon and you're consistently walking around, let's say the bayonet, for example, and you have your hand on, the weapon, whether it be the bayonet or a handgun, a rifle, if that's your thing, that you're going to scare people. You're going to incite fear, and people are going to think that you're trying to cause someone harm. I understand the principle behind wanting to make sure that your weapon is still there and your weapon is still secure, but you can do so without physically touching it with your hand. A method that I use quite often in order to ensure that my bayonet is still on my side, seeing as how light it is that I can forget it's there, is to actually check it with my elbow. Now what this does is it's something as simple as grabbing your belt and dropping your running your forearm parallel with your waist. This is going to bring about at your elbow, centered with your hip. Now, this can be done with firearms. This can be done with fixed blade knives that you carry on your hip. It all depends on how you carry. Is going to depend on how you will do such a thing. But this is an easy way for you to check to make sure that your weapon is still there without scaring anyone around you. Now, another issue that comes into play more often than not with fixed blade knives like the bayonet or the sword rather than firearms is brandishing. Now, I know it's tempting to be walking around and pull your blade out. I've got a grin from ear to ear just, picturing it. But to pull your blade out and to sit there and, toy with it and do whatever you're going to do. But the issue is you got to understand you're going to be held to a higher standard because you're carrying a weapon of any sort on you. So you have to be sure that you're thinking what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, consider yourself on the same standards as, say, first responders, law enforcement, anything like that. I'm not saying that you have to be that kind of person. What I am saying is don't act like an idiot. Don't be a fool. Don't be, pulling your weapon out and brandishing it around. Don't be drawing attention to yourself. This video is a little hard to do. I have someone in my ear through Skype right now, actually, another YouTuber. I'll add an annotation to her channel. You can go listen to her sing if you wish. She actually does. She posts quite a few videos. I'm not sure she's posted any as of late. I will get over my disdain for My Little Ponies to let you know her username when I post it in the annotation. But as I was saying, one of the other big things that you have to be careful of is arguments. Now, if you get into an argument with someone, any kind of altercation, anything that can be considered a domestic dispute or otherwise, and you are carrying a weapon, and law enforcement does happen to come out, it's going to be extremely... How do I put this? It's going to be a lot harder on you because of the fact that you do have a weapon. You're going to be looked at differently. It's going to be, a judgmental thing on your character and whether or not you should be carrying that weapon based on the way you act if you do get in an altercation with someone. I'm not saying that you can't have a light disagreement with someone, but if you're in an all-out heated debate and it's getting to the point where it could turn ugly or go past that point where it's not a debate, it's full scale, it's best to just remove yourself from that situation. It's better to remove yourself from the situation than to have to go through the whole process now of, I wouldn't exactly know the extent that can be gone to. I've always been smart enough to extricate myself from the situation and not allow the fact that I have a weapon or the fact that I'm in an altercation with someone to cloud my judgment on either or. If you are carrying a weapon and you do get into an altercation with someone, it is very easy for them to imply that you threaten them with said weapon. That is why it is a very important need that you just don't deal with it. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can be put into that box of them saying that you threaten them with whatever weapon you do happen to have on you that day. Because we all know what's going to happen if somebody implies that you threaten them with that weapon. Whether or not you can prove that you can't, it's still a huge legal process. It's something that you don't need to go through in the first place. It's best to just avoid it at all possible cost. So, as I said, I will post a link to the other channel, and if anyone here besides myself does carry a weapon on a daily basis or a frequent basis that has any opinion on what I said or their own tips for other people watching this video on, something that they should or shouldn't do, or any kind of, helpful little tidbit like that, feel free to post it in the comments. Feel free to put your opinion out there, whether it be just a regular comment or a video response, whatever you feel like doing. And have a nice day. Stay safe. Be careful.